Rimpa Nandi from Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur. She will speak on regularity bounds and linear resolution of toric algebra of graphs. Rimpa, please.
Thank you. So I want to thanks to the organizer of Virtual Math Fest for giving me the opportunity to present here. So the title of my presentation is Regularity Bounds and Linear Resolutions of Toric Algebras of Graphs. And this is a joint work with my supervisor, Dr. Ramakrishna Nanduri. So as the title suggests, this is a connection between the graph theory and the commutative algebra. So for that, I'll first define some terminologies I have used throughout my presentation. I assume that everyone knows the definition of a finite graph, so I'm skipping this part. Now I will define the edge ideal. So if I have a finite graph G with the vertex set V of G and the edge set E of G, then we can associate a monomial ideal with this graph in this way, that this Ig is generated by the edges coming from the graph itself. And this is an ideal in this polynomial ring. So now as we have an ideal, we can associate the so suppose generated by these monomials, then we can associate the Riesz algebra in this way, and we can associate the fiber cone to this ideal, which is known as toric algebra in the graphical sense, and this is nothing but an algebra over K which is spanned by these generators of the edge ideal. So I have already defined these generators in this way, that ME is equals to xi xj if E is the edge xi comma xj. Now as we have an algebra, so we will try to find a defining ideal for this algebra by defining a map from a polynomial ring to this algebra. So here we are taking the polynomial ring R equals to this polynomial ring, where this y1, y2 and yq are the variables, and they are basically denoting the edges e1, e2, eq of the graph, and we are defining the map in this way. Then the kernel of this map, this is known as the toric ideal of the graph G. This ideal was first introduced by Villarreal in 1995, and so I'll give you an example so that you can understand, so all of you can understand what is a toric ideal. So here I have a 4 cycle x1, x2, x3, x4. I'm sorry, I have done something wrong here. Okay, so suppose these are the ages x1, x2, x1, x4, x3, x4, and x2, x3. Then if we take the even closed work x1, which is going to x2, going to x3, going to x4, and coming back to x1, then the generator of Ig is defined in this way: y1, y3 minus y2, y4. So this y1 is denoting this e1, and y3 is denoting e3, and y2 is denoting this e2, and y4 is denoting this e4. So this is toric ideal coming from this graph. Now as we have an ideal, our next target will be to find the generators and the Grobner basis for this toric ideal. So to find the generators, we'll define a even closed work, and we'll associate a binomial to that even closed work. So suppose we have an even closed work W in G of this form, then we associate the binomial in this way. In 1995, Villarreal again proved that the generators of the toric ideal, they are nothing but the set of these even closed work in the graph G. And in fact, if the graph G is bipartite, then we have to take only the even cycles in the graph G. So now we have a set of generators for the toric ideal. Next target will be to find the Grobner basis of the toric ideal. For that, we need to define primitive works. So if W is an even closed work, then it is called a primitive work if it satisfies this property here. And then in 2012, in Herzog, they proved that this toric ideal, for this toric ideal, the Grobner basis is actually the set of the primitive works in G. And this is with respect to any monomial order. So next I'll define some homological invariants. with respect for any graded module M. Suppose that M is a graded module and it is finally generated and over the Noetherian local ring R, and then obviously M has a finitely M has a free minimal free graded resolution. Then we'll say that M admits a p-linear resolution if the minimal free resolution is of this form, where this beta ij, they are the ijth graded Betti numbers of M. And I'll next define the Kashal-Nobel-Mumford regularity. This regularity was first defined by Mumford in algebraic geometry, and after that Oishi, he defined this regularity in commutative algebra for graded modules. This actually measures the complexity of a module, and so we define this regularity here in terms of the graded Betti numbers, but this can be defined in terms of the local cohomology modules also. Next, I'll describe some results which are done in the direction of finding the bounds and linear resolution of toric ideal and Riesz algebra. So in 2017, Bearman, O'Keefe and Toole, they first provided a lower bound for the regularity, the Kashal-Nobel-Mumford regularity of toric algebra for a graph G, and he provided this in terms of the presence of complete bipartite subgraphs in G. And they also provided some upper bounds for the regularity of toric algebra for caudal bipartite graph in terms of the bipartition of that graph. After that, in 2018, Weissedros, he proved that regularity of Riesz algebra of a bipartite graph, that is actually equals to the matching number of the graph G. And after that, in 2019, Herzog and Hebe, they showed that if the Riesz algebra is normal, then the regularity of the toric algebra is actually lesser equals to regularity of the Riesz algebra. And they also they also provided a very nice bound for the regularity of Riesz algebra if the Riesz algebra is normal. So they showed that the regularity of Riesz algebra lies between these two numbers, matching number of G and matching number of G plus 1. After that, they asked a question that when this regularity of Riesz algebra can be equals to the matching number of G. So here we provide a completely new bound for the regularity of Riesz algebra for any graph G, and we provide some conditions such that this equality is satisfied there. So we first prove that if G is a connected graph and suppose that Riesz algebra is normal, then the regularity of Riesz algebra is bounded above by the minimal vertex cover number of the graph G. And as a corollary, we have shown that if G is conic, so G is conic means the matching number is equals to the vertex cover number. In that case, regularity of Riesz algebra equals to matching number and equals to the vertex cover number. And this result, this actually answers the question provided asked by Herzog and Hebe. So this actually provided a class of graphs such that this equality holds. And also as a immediate corollary, we can show that if G is a bipartite graph, then obviously G is conic, then these two numbers are equal, which also recovers the result of Weissedros. Next, we provide some bounds for the regularity of Riesz algebra for a gap-free graph. So what is a gap-free graph? Suppose we have a graph G and we have two edges, they are not connected by a vertex. Then they should be connected by at least one edge in order to be a gap-free graph. So to provide some bounds for the regularity of Riesz algebra for gap-free graph, we recall a family which was introduced by D. Meister in 2006. So this suppose that G is a graph, then a subset U of the vertex set, this belongs to this family UG if it satisfies these three conditions. And this family actually plays a vital role in providing our bound for this regularity. So our next result, that is that if G is a gap-free graph such that it has at least one edges, then this regularity of the Riesz algebra can be bounded above by this number where U belongs to the family UG, which we have already described. And further, if we have that U is a maximal independent set there, such that this Vg minus U is a maximal clique, then this regularity is lesser equals to this number. And here HU is the minimal triangulation of G. By minimal triangulation we mean that if we have a graph, then we can make it caudal graph or triangulated graph, and the minimal graph we are taking, minimal caudal graph we are taking in order to get the minimal triangulation there. After that, if we achieve or if we provide a new bound, the next target will be to show that this bound is obviously a sharp bound. So here we provide an example to show that this bound we have provided here, this is in fact a sharp bound. And for after this theorem, we have some immediate corollaries. This one corollary is this one, and the next corollary here we have a gap-free graph such that the edge set is greater or equals to 1. Then if G satisfies this condition, then regularity of Riesz algebra is equals to matching number of G. So this again provides a new family where the regularity is equals to the matching number, which again provides a class of graphs that question asked by Herzog and Hebe. Now I will discuss about the linear resolution of toric algebra of graphs. In this direction, in 1999, Osugi and Hebe, they gave a characterization for the toric algebra such that the toric algebra has two linear resolution. After that, in 2019, Hebe, Masuda and Shuchiya, they proved that suppose we have a graph G and the toric algebra has a 3 linear resolution, then K of G has to be hypersurface. That means the toric ideal IG should be generated by a single element. And after this result, they actually conjectured this thing for a general Q linear resolution. So they conjectured that if K of G has a Q linear resolution, then K of G has to be hypersurface for a connected sample graph G. This conjecture was proved by Shuchiya in 2019, and this was proved affirmatively for bipartite graphs. So the proof for the general graphs is still unknown, and here we prove this conjecture affirmatively for caudal graphs. So what is a caudal graph? A graph is called caudal if every induced cycle in G is of length at most 3. So to prove that the caudal graph, the KG has a Q linear resolution and it is a hypersurface, we need to find the number of generators in the toric ideal. And the number of generators, this is connected to the Grobner basis because Grobner basis itself is a generator. And we know that the Grobner basis is nothing but the primitive works in the graph G. So we need to know the nature of the primitive works in a graph. And here we have the result from Diali. He showed that an even closed work of length 2q is primitive in a graph G if this is either of these 3 forms. One is an even cycle, next it can be 2 odd cycles connected at a common vertex, or it can be sequence of odd cycles connected by sequence of paths. So we have proved that if G is a caudal graph and IG has a Q linear resolution, then all the primitive works in G are of type 3 only. So we have cut down the type of primitive works in just one type. And next, in the next lemma, we have shown that if G is a caudal graph and IG has a Q linear resolution, then all the primitive works is of particularly this form only. That means 2 odd cycles and connected by only one path. So now when we have the type of the primitive works, our next target will be to find the number of the primitive works. So in the next theorem, we have shown that if G is a connected caudal graph, then IG has Q linear resolution, and then G has exactly one primitive work of the type C1 PC2. So that means if G has only one primitive work, which means that IG is generated by only one element, and so combining these 3 results, we get our main result, that is if G is a caudal graph and IG has a Q linear resolution, then KG is a hypersurface, because we have already shown that IG is generated by only one element. And this ends my talk. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.